band and all of our staff and everything like that. We want to welcome him. We're glad that everybody's here and having a good time. We're announced we're going to come back next year. And our good buddy Eddie Trump is here today, and he's gonna run through a few questions, and we've got some questions that came from the crowd, so we're gonna kick this off.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Styx manager, Mr. Charlie Brusco. Come on now. And how about a round of applause for all the crew up here and all the people with Topeka who made this thing happen. And Will can't wait to get out here. Look at these guys are chomping at the bit. Say hello to Styx, everybody. Will, Tommy, Todd, Terry, Lawrence, Chuck. And bringing up the rear, there's JY. So Terry, do you actually like the Steelers, or are you just playing up to a renegade thing? What's going on there? Oh, he needs a microphone.
He likes it so much, notice where his pillow is. He thought that was a Toronto Maple Leaf shirt. My deep love and dedication to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Second only to Jacksonville. Just kidding. My love of the Pittsburgh Steelers starts, of course, with Renegade. And then it makes its way to the Bradshaws and the Chuck Knowles, Bob Kirk, and of course now the present company. Yes, you guys. Thank you.
We could easily turn this into a football conversation because my Giants won last night. And I told Tommy, I said, in full disclosure, I was up there watching your whole set, but I did have one eye on my phone watching the Giants win. So I had a great soundtrack, the music of Styx, while you watch football. I highly recommend it. It worked very, very well. So let's just go right around the horn here. We'll start with Lawrence, who was right to my right. I was, and I'm sure many people out here, completely blown away by the concert last night. Wasn't that unbelievable? And this is a first-time event for Styx doing this whole thing, and I'm honored to be a part of it. But Lawrence, how did it feel for you up here last night?
It was spectacular, Eddie. Thank you. It was really great. We didn't know what to expect, with doing our own festival, and you guys came, well, you exceeded all expectation last night. So apparently, because of you, we have to do it again next year.
In case you guys didn't hear Tommy say that during the show, they did officially announce that this is going down again next year, and no details just yet, but everybody should kind of mark their calendar around this time, right, Tommy?
The good thing is, it's a go. Thank you so much for making this happen for us, because we were going to be here anyway. So nice of you to come.
Tommy was telling me backstage that the wind started picking up, and he goes to me, yeah, there was actually like 1 minute where I think my voice cracked for a second. And my voice never, I go, your voice never cracks, what are you talking about? There's not one person out in this audience that ever heard Tommy Shaw not sing absolutely, brilliantly, perfectly. It's amazing.
That's the actual size of my head right there.
Todd, how did it feel for you playing last night? How'd you feel about the gig?
It was really great. I kind of had one eye on my drum tech trying to keep me abreast of the Cubs. Brewers. So it was great, and then of course we shut out the Brewers last night, 6-0. So Cubs, win. It was great, though. I will say the wind messed with me a little bit insofar as the cymbals tend to go like this, so it feels like you're in a whack-a-mole game. Like, I hope I hit it. We'll see. But yeah, it was great, and thank you all for being here. Like, yeah, we'd be here and we'd be playing in an empty field, so thank you for being here.
Well, you gotta make sure that screen's swinging around behind your head back there, Todd. Make sure that thing stays intact too if the wind kicks up. That's what I worry about.
I'm always looking up to you.
Exactly. Let's get JY in here. JY. Yeah. How's it feel to have your own, after all these decades of doing Styx, you've got your own event here, right here in Florida? How's it feel?
Fantastic. We signed our first recording contract on February 22nd, 1972. Which is a long time ago. But, I mean, every time we get out on a stage, and particularly in front of you guys, this part of the country has really supported us from the very beginning. This guy writes a song called Renegade, and we just kind of punched it up, and you guys adopted us. So we're happy to be here.
And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Chuck Panozzo over here.
When I got on the stage, I saw everybody out there. I was like, oh my God, they were so great. I probably played my best performance last night because of the song. You felt that
And say hello to Will Avankovich down there. Did I get it right? Say that right.
You guys were amazing last night. Never mind us. It was awesome. You totally exceeded our expectations, so thank you. And the highlight of my evening was looking over at Lawrence, looking like the Memorex guy on the chair, hair flying back. It was amazing, so thank you.
And now, we've already heard from him about the Steelers and all of that, but Terry, how did it feel for you up there on stage last night? How'd you feel about the gig?
Am I addressing Steeler Nation or Styx Nation? I love the wind, and I love the wind, and it's very special being here. Always in Florida. There's just something, as Chuck just said. There's something extra magical. There's just a bond and a connection that I can feel, even as the newest member. It's there, and so thank you all so much for that. Yeah. We also have a lot of people from around the world here, and I even have two of my cousins here from Ireland, and they got to see us last night. Yeah. So thank you for making them feel welcome, and thank you always, Styx fans.
But Tommy, what has it done to the band and the following that it is now made up of not one but two Canadians?
Two Gowans.
Two Gowans.
Is that legal? I mean, it's almost, it should be illegal. I think it's just, how can we compete with that? Oh no, we're in the same band. Okay, never mind. No, it's great. We're all such good friends, and to have these guys, and you know, we have the youngest brother here. We have three babies, don't we? You're a baby. You're a baby. I'm a baby. You're a baby. Elder statesman, he says. So, you know, there's a lot of crying and crawling and changing of diapers and things like that.
But on a serious note, of course, you know, Gowan had a hugely successful career in Canada, and you're going to get a Gowan set right on this stage today. So Lawrence, what can you tell the folks that, you know, maybe some have, you know, not seen what you do with the other project, what they're going to be getting?
Well, we did First of all, we waited until America was really ready for us. That was number one. I didn't want to get too overconfident, so we figured we'd start our career back in 1982, do the American tour, which starts tonight at 5:30 and ends tonight at 6:15.
I hope the headliner treats you well.
Oh man.
I heard they're going to cut your lights and reduce sound and all that.
You know what? They gave us like one banana. Like one banana. It's a split between the whole band. I mean, these guys are cheap. No, I'm just kidding. We got 3 bananas.
It's got heavy rider demands, but for you, have you noticed an increased interest since you've been in Styx now for a long time?
Yes.
But has there been an increased interest in these 20 some odd years you've been doing this in that music as well now?
Well, take a look out there, Eddie. Look, you see there's some T-shirts there with my face back when I looked like a pretty girl, right on the front of the. Look at that. So yeah, I mean, I definitely want you to get your expectations way too high. All right? No, I'll give you a quick history. In 1985, we did a full American tour opening for Tears for Fears on the Songs from the Big Chair tour. And problem is, they hogged the spotlight. So their album did extremely well. Our record on the same year was #1 in Canada when theirs was #2. That really pissed them off. And they were #1 here, of course, with Songs from the Big Chair. And it was a fabulous tour, and we really hoped that the record would get released in the States. It didn't. A few years went by, I joined a band named Styx, and the next thing you know, bang, Miramar Beach.
Wow.
Hey, Will, I want you to jump in here because, of course, we all know, and I mentioned it last night when I introed the band, there is a new Styx album out right now, right? Certainly from the top. And Will down here as a producer and songwriter, Will, talk about this record coming together and how's the response been so far?
It's been great. I've been fortunate to be part of the last two, The Mission, Crash of the Crown, and now Circling from Above. And I hope everyone's enjoying it. We had a great time making it. There's some really great songwriting on there, and we put our hearts and souls into it. So thank you for listening and purchasing the record.
And, JY and Tommy, as the elder statesman here in the band, you can take this question, but I always think it's interesting. And I talk to bands that have been around for a long time and ask this question all the time because I see two different answers to this. I will ask bands with huge hit catalogs like Styx have, why do you still make new music? Because sometimes it's very hard to get over to the audience, it doesn't sell a lot, you don't get a lot of airplay. And sometimes they'll be like, well, it's just kind of what we do and it's embedded in us as writers. But I'll also ask that question to classic bands and I'll say, why don't you make new music? There's a lot of bands that haven't made new music in 20 years. And they'll be like, they'll give that answer. Well, I don't want to put the work in, nobody cares, whatever. So for you guys, obviously, it is important still to create new music. Even though you've got this amazing catalog and 15 songs you got to play probably every show, how do you balance that? How do you figure that out? And why is it important to put out a new record every few years for you?
We don't really have much choice. A lot of times you'll wake up in the morning and there it is. So you got to get, I'll always have to find something. I'll either write it down or I'll get my phone and I'll record, blah, blah, blah. There's the melody line. And then I'll wake up and then I'll go flesh it out a little bit, and then if I like it, I'll play it. I'll call Will, say, Will, what do you think? And it just spreads from there. But it's really something that I can't really control. It's, and thank goodness, because I'm not good at too many other things. This I know how to do.
Well, and I think it's fair to say, judging by the fact, just the turnout at your shows and the turnout here and the passion from Styx fans, that you guys are receptive and like and want new music, right?
So to be in this band and take an idea, you know, to everybody, and we're all insecure. We don't want to be shut down. One of us will say something, and it'll light up everybody else. And at that point, everybody's machines are going off in their heads, and we're already working on it. So, and it's that kind of chemistry that we have in this band. This most recent album, we were just in an empty room, and we were like, well, what are we going to do? And I had this kind of silly idea. I said, did you know that up in the sky, there's all these junk rocket ships up there, and every one of them has a number, and everybody in the country that set that up there is responsible for it. And after that, the discussion started. The next thing you know, it was like Wasteland in the Sky. So that's kind of how it goes.
If I may kind of expound on that, and at the risk of being a little puffery about what we've done, I don't know any other band on the planet at this late stage of the game that's released 3 banging records. Boom, 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 full of songs, chords, lyrics, like not like, blues throwaway, like, well, let's finish a song in time for lunch, let's get some sushi. We put our hearts and souls into it, and I'm really, really proud of what we did, and it just happened. The music comes out, and you got to do something with it. And I'm so glad that we were able to do what we've done with these last 3 records and with this new one. So I hope that you're checking it out, because it is a hard sell sometimes, because people want to hear the classics, and that's always going to be the case, and that's great, and it's a beautiful thing to have had hits. But yeah, check out the new stuff if you haven't, because I think we need new music in our lives. That's how we grow. New things, new ideas, new music. So
well, and to Todd's point, he was saying he doesn't know any other bands that are putting out new music like that, but I'll go one further on that, and I actually was having a conversation with my friends when I was watching the show up there about the fact that, do we know any other band, and this is not just me blowing smoke because they're sitting next to me, you guys know me, I'll say the truth, I don't know many other bands that have been around better than 50 years that still sound this good live. The word live, because it's actually a live, real show, which is unfortunately becoming a rarity in music these days. So can any of you guys jump in on that and elaborate into what actually goes in to making a Styx show sound that good? Because I have some friends that have toured with you in supporting acts, and they've said to me, you wouldn't believe it, 2-3 hours before the show, they're back there doing all this vocal harmony and stuff like that. These guys aren't loading up a computer off to the side of the stage to sound like that. This is the real shit, and I respect that hell out of it. So, Lawrence, as one of the primary lead singers, can you talk about the work that goes in and the prep that goes in to be able to deliver like this night in and night out?
Every night, about 3 hours before the show, we start braiding each other's hair. That usually turns into a massage, and then the massage turns into something unspeakable. This is a very unique band, because no one wants to let down each other and you. That is kind of in the DNA of everyone on this stage right now, and we want to, every night we want to somehow make it better than the previous night, if that's at all possible. And so it begins with everyone's on individual instruments. Todd's banging away on a little small kid he's got backstage, or a little practice pad, and we're trying to talk over that, but we can't. And each individual begins to warm up on their instrument, and that's kind of the beginning of us beginning to lean into the show. And it starts, yeah, you're welcome. And then that begins to kind of snowball as we get more and more committed to what's coming up now let's say we're an hour and a half away. Then at an hour till the show, this is when, guys start singing little bits and begin to really kind of realize that, we're about to go on. That's when things suddenly pick up really quickly, and we begin to play together in the dressing room, go through a vocal warm-up, sing the harmonies to several of the songs to kind of lock our voices in together, and go over and over some parts that we weren't absolutely perfect or close to perfect. It's never perfect, but close to perfect last night. And those parts will be looped around. And I have to add to that since Will joined the band, there's a very strong regimented way that we go through that, so that by the time we come onto the stage, we're really amped up, and that's how we get ready for you folks.
If we didn't do all those things he said, it would be like jumping out of a moving car going 80 miles per hour when you hit the stage, because that's how Styx is. It's just par excellence. So, this is the first band I've been in that's been like that, where there's a lot of perfectionism, but there's a lot of great vibes too, so.
And Chuck, let me ask you, you had said earlier when we talked to you that this was this playground. Just like the football games, we plan to fly over during the and now I completely forgot what I was going to say. Chuck, for you, you said that that last night was one of your favorite shows, or what made it that for you? Was it the setting? You've been doing this forever. What made it so special? Why'd you feel so good?
Well, I lived in a hotel, and when the fans came up, they were very excited, and more than happy to speak with them and sign autographs. I had the wonderful vibe. Now, I play a little bit, play lady, but I was I'm backstage, kind of reminiscing about performing these incredible singer-songwriters. It's amazing to me. The way, like you're saying, they rehearse their voices. It's not like they just go out there. It just brought back this time in my life, and I've been doing this for a long time. I turned over, and that was nice. I started focusing in 1962. It's kind of an emotional experience. So when I go out there, I owe my work to these entertainers, and the guy who loves me, I love him too. It's just amazing to come out here and see this beautiful. I live here. I didn't know where we're going, but it's a great place. But the people are what makes us. The fans make us, and I thank you for that.
And then we have some audience questions that I'm going to read that had been submitted earlier, so we'll get to those as well. I should have mentioned this earlier too. If you guys are way in the back, you are welcome to come down closer, even if it's not your assigned seat for this segment. So if you want to come down a little closer to the back, it's all good. I wanted to mention real quickly, because in addition to Tommy on stage yesterday announcing that this will happen again next year, which I think is awesome, and there's going to be more details on that soon. A place where I live part-time and just had these guys in my studio there is Las Vegas. And you announced another residency, and this time around, this next residency next year, we're going to be playing the Pieces of 8 album in its entirety. So, most people don't need an excuse to go to a party in Vegas, but if you did, there's a good one if you're a Styx fan. Who wants to give us a little something on what to expect on the next Vegas run? Anyone who wants to take that one? Tommy? Will? Will's got a mic. Tommy, whoever picks up a mic, go ahead.
Well, we'll be back in the rehearsal studio. Actually, we've already started on it. About a month ago, we started, getting the brain cells in line to play. We've played that album many times, but the newer people didn't tour with it, so they worked a little harder to kind of catch up to where we are, but we forgot. And so it's starting to sound really good. It's a fun album to play.
I was going to ask you, in the catalog, where does that land? Like, last you did the Great which was incredible. So, you know, are some of them more challenging than others, or do some of them have, you know, more favorite moments than others, or are they all kind of in the same world?
Yeah, there's a couple of James Young songs. This guy's a wild man.
The Great White Hope.
JY, jump in there. Tell how do you feel about doing Pieces of Eight in its entirety and your wild moments?
Great.
Can you see where we're
Great White Hope. I'm okay.
Which you did last night.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Yeah.
Queen of Spades, yes indeed. Beware of the Queen of Spades. Miss America.
Is there an album that you haven't done yet that you'd like to play start to finish?
Pink Floyd's The Wall.
Styx performs Pink Floyd coming to the Sphere in Vegas, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first. Go online with that. You know, what the heck? Everything else on there is fake online these days. Why not? Run with it. Okay, so we should probably get to these questions because I'll get yelled at for going too long, I'm sure. But I just noticed we do have Mr. Roboto standing dead center right there. So, welcome, Mr. Roboto.
Somebody get a can opener and give that guy some air.
All right, so let's begin talking about this right here, which is the Oh Mama Styx beer, which I see people already day drinking, having in the front row. When can they get it?
It's in the works. I mean, it's canned. There's just fermenting right now. Okay, we'll get back
Todd
to
was
it.
stirring it with his drumsticks in the backstage just before. So coming soon.
Coming soon. Yes,
All right.
we'll see.
All right, let's get some these are questions submitted by you guys. So we don't have a microphone in the audience, so I'll just say who these are from and I'll read them. This is from Michelle Mimi Demora. And where's Michelle? Michelle? All right. Way in the back. Somebody's got to get you better seats, Michelle. The music of Styx has endured for 5 decades. Do you think today's music will stand the test of time? And what's on your playlist now? Whoever picks up a mic can take these. I don't know who anybody has anything to say about any of this stuff. Anybody want to jump in on this?
It's hard. There's always great music out there, and always great new music. You just have to be more professional and lucky to find it, because it's not always being fed to you by the old traditional ways that it used to. But yeah, there's like I just saw a band last week called Elbow. One of my favorite bands and my favorite lyricist of the last 20 years, playing a 1,200 seater. But in England, they play Wembley. They play the big places. So for some reason in America, they're not getting the exposure, but that didn't stop them from coming over and delivering a show that I will remember for the rest of my life. So there are things out there. You just have to get adept and get up off the couch and go check things out. Have some other friends that go, hey, check this out, or send someone a song. That's how, for me, I've always discovered things, and I brought my buddy to the Elbow Show, who sent me a track 20 years ago, who turned me on to it. So it's nice to kind of return the favor that way.
I have a saying I say all the time on my radio show. The great thing is anybody can make and release music. The bad thing is anybody can make and release music. Because the gates are down. It used to be that you'd been vetted out before you could physically produce music. And now the floodgates open and there's literally thousands of things. And for you guys, it's hard to find it. It's like a needle in a haystack. You need a label, you don't need a label. Used to be you couldn't put records out without a record label. Now anybody can put out a video or a song. So I believe there's a lot of great music out there, but you got to take the time to kind of search through and try to find it, or or listen to my radio show every day and I'll tell you what's good. It's my own plug. Anybody want to jump in on this topic as far as new music? Anybody listening to anything new, or besides Todd that discovered some new stuff that he likes you want to recommend?
It's not new, but I still find that if I go to the music of the 70s, the catalog is so vast, because, as you said, it was so vetted, the level of excellence that you can still find in bands that maybe you didn't yet discover, or for one reason or the other, but I still find what to me is new music, because it's new to me, in that decade. I do. I still find great music coming from that decade.
I think most of us would agree that certain things that we disliked when they came out when we were younger, all of a sudden sound amazingly good right now. Like, some disco song that I wouldn't have dealt with for a moment in 1976, and I'm listening, like, listen to the strings and the bass line, and like, holy moly, that's great. I remember vividly, I will name one song. We were at 4:30 in the morning in Tacoma. Bus pulls up, waiting for the luggage to come out. It's some like kind of swanky hipster white hotel with candelabras and stuff. And Karma Chameleon is playing. And no disrespect. When that came out, it was just I would break my finger on the radio to get it off as quickly as possible. And I'm waiting for my bag, and I'm listening to that, going, this is. If I saw this on Saturday Night Live right now, I'd be like, these guys are freaking great. So there you go. Sometimes you learn to dig something that you hated previously.
It is amazing how that you open up a little bit more as you get older. Like, I remember, being a kid driving to Long Island to see Styx on the Paradise Theater tour, and like, we'd be listening to all our like heavy rock stuff on the way. It's like anything like Karma Chameleon came out, like, fuck that shit, right? And now you listen to it, you're like, it sticks in your head like glue, I also think it's part of the fact that the way we get music now, it's like, people can get any song they want. This is whether good or bad, depending on your view on your phone. So it opens up people to maybe a little more stuff. And the last point on this, which, you talk about new music, and I think everyone immediately defaults to new bands. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff from 50 years ago that maybe I didn't go as deep on. And every day I'm talking about bands I grew up loving that maybe weren't huge. And I saw somebody wearing a UFO shirt right there. One of my all-time favorite bands. And every day I've been screaming about them for 50 years. People are like, I never listened to this. Holy shit, that's a great band. So it could be new to you and not a new band too. So there's that element to it too. There might be somebody that never listened to one of the earlier Styx records, and all of a sudden you guys bust out something and it turns them on. So it's never too late to jump in.
And that's what makes vinyl shopping and getting a great turntable. It just makes it that much more enticing when you go into a record store, you go through the records like you do when you're younger, and you just feel that much more drawn to it. I never checked this band out, like UFO actually, that's a good example. Yeah, and you check it out. For some reason, it's more, you check it out on vinyl.
The other day, I finally got the record player plugged into the speakers in my studio the other day. I've just been looking at it, waiting for the part to come in. So I went and I stole an album from my sister. It was Crime of the Century. Oh my God. So I put it on there, and I started listening to it, and I got really angry with myself because we were so busy doing Styx music back in those days that we didn't really, let's see what everybody else is doing. We'd heard it on the radio. I listened to that record and I thought, can we go back and record all of our old albums, because they are the best, one of the best sounding albums I've ever heard. And take my word, if you don't hear the band that's doing, like they're making records, go listen to some stuff like that, because I really would like to go back and redo some of our records. We're not going to.
Put that on the internet too. Tommy Shaw said, entire Styx catalog being re-recorded. Let's start some shit here at Styx and Friends. Come on.
But get out and expose yourself to. Wait a minute. stupid. Everybody listen to Super Troll.
All right, let's get to the next question. Jana Hope McClellan. Where is Jana here? I hear some screaming over there. There she is. Jana's question: after so many years on stage, what motivates you to keep performing with so much energy and joy? So these would probably be questions best served for the three in the middle, since they've been doing this the longest. Although Lawrence has got over 20 years in at this point, but with this band. But you know, JY, Chuck, Tommy, what's the motivation? What keeps you wanting to do this and keeps you happy?
There we go. Back in, let's see, I bought my first record when I was 11 years old, 10 maybe, and I was really a big fan of Jimi Hendrix. Saw him perform live 3 times while he was still with us, and it's something that I'll never forget. And so every time we would go to make a record, I would try and throw a little curveball of Hendrix in an unusual spot, or a spot that didn't dominate necessarily, but just tip my hat to Jimi Hendrix every time I had a chance. And saw him play 3 times live, and that was mind blowing. So I got nothing better to say than that.
Well, the motivation is you people. We want to put on a great show for you guys. And you know, playing music and being involved in music keeps you young, and it keeps you you know, healthy if you choose to take care of yourself. That is, of course. But there's something about where the average person at 8 o'clock is putting on their sweatpants and putting a remote control on their hand, and we're putting on a rock costume and looking in the mirror and trying to be healthy and strong and physically be able to come up and play a great show. And there's no endorphins like walking off the stage when you've had a great show. So that's really what keeps us going.
That's well said. We're also fans of bands and artists, just as much as anyone here. And when you see an artist, you might be a little bit, like, you might be kind of interested, but when you see them live and suddenly if they really if they really kill that show, like really perform at a level that exceeds your expectation, it would be, you're bonded to that act forever. You suddenly realize, I mean, that happened with me, for example, with Billy Joel. I'd heard his records on the radio, etc. And then one time I got a ticket to his show, and I went, and then, wow, I became a ridiculous Billy Joel fan after that, because he was so astounding live. And that's part of what we try to do as a band, is make sure that we give that kind of an experience to the audience, like the experience that we've received from other musicians over the years. So that keeps us motivated.
My job is to perform on stage. It's the most important part of my day. Performing, no matter what you do the entire day, is all geared on performing that night. So I think, well, I'm not going on vacation. I'm not going to anywhere but perform. How blessed am I to be able to have this job? This many people want, and this many people got. I'm so grateful.
Tying in on this theme of longevity, which Styx is more than 50 years in on a career right now, we see more and more bands that unfortunately start to go away or do farewell tours, which nobody believes anyway. Who did their first farewell in '82? They just played a show the other night. So who buys it anyway? But that being said, have you ever talked about like how and when you think Styx should put a button on the career? Is there any talk about it? I mean, there's no great button, I know, but you know, just curious. Is that like never in the conversation, or is that something that you kind of have a vision on where it should go?
We wait upon the decision of the gods of rock to decide when that curtain, or if that curtain should ever come down. I'm getting too choked up right now.
You don't retire from this business. The business retires you.
Styx will live forever, and you will live forever. Well, now that we have our own festival, if the Grateful Dead has Deadheads and Jimmy Buffett has the Parrot Heads, what shall we call our great people who come to this show? Stygians. Stygians. Is it renegades? It's deemed so.
So the short answer is Styx ain't going anywhere. And let me tell you where I stand on that. And I say that all the time. Bands should end when they sound like shit and they're making a mockery of their legacy. You guys watched last night, this band is far from done, man. It's crazy. It is crazy what's going on. All right, this next question is from Alan Carpenter. Where's Alan? Alan? Alan says, with such a big catalog plus the new music, how do you balance set lists between fan favorites and songs you're excited to play? That's just a big fist fight backstage, isn't it? You guys beat the hell out of each other. What's the process to make the set list?
We want to make sure that all the hits are in the set always, so that's the first priority. There's quite a few of them. JY says it's an embarrassment of riches, our set list. There's not very many bad songs, there's no bad songs. So we kind of mix in some of the new stuff. We try to throw a deep cut in there now and again. I'm trying to get I want best thing in the set at some point. So yeah, it's a lot of fun putting it together. Who's my pick? Is that? Yeah. Plexiglass. Oh, now we've got plexiglass. Okay. We'll do that one tomorrow. Yeah.
Plexiglass toilet, you said?
That's the best thing in there because I think James Anderson.
We'll talk about that.
Hey Terry, so Will threw out his request that he'd like to play live with the band as a relatively newer guy in the band. You're the newest guy in the band. What if there's a Styx song or two that has not been played live that you'd like to get in the set list? What is it?
It's from Pieces of Eight.
So it's going to be playing in Vegas, then?
We're going to be playing in Las Vegas coming up. And again, backstage with Styx, there's a lot of music being played every time we're going to perform. Every day we're on tour, there's a lot of music being played. And one of the great things about having that coming up in Vegas is that we're starting to play the songs from Pieces of Eight, so we work on the new songs and then work on some of the songs we're about to perform. And again, it was only a couple of months ago now, I think. I heard Tommy playing Sing for the Day. And I heard him playing it, and I heard him playing it in the dressing room. And we have a rehearsal room, and we have our instruments, a lot of instruments backstage. I had my bass there, and I just came running in, and I picked up the bass. I was like, I've been waiting for this moment. And I just played it along with him, and it was well, again, come to Las Vegas, and you get to hear it, and I'll get to play it. But that's high on the list.
So I'm going to be doing a little segment after this up front. So I'm going to do a song that we've never played live called "Coming Out the Other Side." And I'd love to play that live sometime. If I can get Tommy Shaw up here. His slide guitar solo at the end. My God, if you don't like that, you don't like ice cream. That is George Harrison at his best level solo. It's magnificent. So I get the chill. So I'm gonna, even though that's not the biggest drum-centric song, it's such a great piece of music. He was amazing on it, as is everyone else. So I'll be playing that later today. And maybe Carmen Chameleon.
Just make sure you guys stick around because we got a long day of good stuff. Because after we wrap up here in just a minute, Todd is going to come out and basically do a whole drum expo for you guys. But to music, Todd, you want to tell people a little bit more on what they're actually going to see and hear?
Yeah, so it's I guess called Todd Zuckerman Up Close because the drummers are always shoved in the back. And you can't see what we're doing. We're the hardest working members of the whole band. I can see the whole festival. So what we're going to do is I'm going to be set up at the lip of the stage, set up sideways. So you get to see a view that you never ever get to see. And I'll be playing a Styx track, some hits, some deep cuts, some surprises. And you can see what us four-limbed drummers do, and whether or not you're a fan of drummers or maybe you're drum curious, you get to see me up close at an angle as if you're just I'm playing at a nightclub and we're all hanging out.
I have a question. Can Will and I still sneak up on the back of it and stick our finger down your pants? Okay, good. All right, I'm all for it.
As you guys know, he is an unbelievable drummer, all sorts of awards, modern drummer, all sorts of stuff. So that should be really special to be able to check that out. And one quick thing, Todd, I was always curious about this because listening to you play last night, there were a couple little moments in some of the older songs that you, of course, didn't originally record. And it was just so cool, these little accents and things that you put in here and there, but never to the extreme where it changed the song. So your approach digging into the older stuff, whether, who John or whoever was recorded, what was your approach to that? And how has that evolved over the time you've been in the band?
Well, the amazing thing about the instrument of the drums is you could line up 1,000 drummers and have them all play boom, whack, boom, boom, whack. And each one is going to be different. Each one is going to have their own heartbeat, the milliseconds of where they put the beat, how they hit the drum. It's not just like hitting a C chord on a piano. There's a life force in the drum, no disrespect. There's a life force that goes along with the way you play the drums. So whether or not I was following John or in another band following their drummer, it's two different sets of fingerprints. But what I have to do is I have to honor the legacy of what came before. These guys sold whatever 40, 50 million records before I ever darkened their door, so I have to respect that, and that comes before my ego. Yet I'm a different person, so different things will come out in different ways where I'm trying to cook a roast the way your grandmother did. You're trying to do something like that, and you have to deliver that piece of music honestly and earnestly, and that's sort of how I look at my job when I'm performing songs that I didn't originally document.
All right, so stick around. That's going to be coming up. And then, of course, musically, we have Gowan's set coming up. And then Collective Soul. And then Loverboy. So it's hit after hit after hit. One or two more quick questions and we'll wrap this up. This one is from Steve Olek. Where's Steve? Steve out there? Steve is hungover, sleeping still in this hotel. All right, anyway, Steve's question was, what is your most memorable performance location outside of the U.S., another country that you have played in? Lawrence, you want to start with that one?
Well, okay, so I'll just quickly say Toronto and get that out of the way. Of course. I think an incredibly important show that I got to play with Styx was at the London Palladium in 2019. Yeah, right? 2019, yeah. Only because to go back there and see my aunt, who was my babysitter when I was just born in Scotland, right? To see her sitting out in the 8th row and rocking so hard. That was a tremendous night. It's also it's the place where John Lennon famously said, the people in the poor folks just the people in the cheap seats just clap your hands and the rest of you just rattle your jewelry. So I'd heard that as a little kid, and to be there and kind of experience, wow, this is exactly where that took place, and I'm here with Styx. That was a particularly important one for me.
going to Japan for the first time and second time was something that we had all looked forward to. That was just, it was kind of a dream come true to play some of those huge venues and see those audiences and see how many people would show up, when we would play, and that we made some lifelong friends, and I hope we get to go back there.
One of the most exciting songs I played with Tommy was Boat on the River. It was our gateway to Europe. We didn't know what was encountered in Europe. Never traveled there before. An incredible experience, and I'm really proud of that song. To be able to play unplugged, get that right. Tommy's genius at playing any string instruments, amazing. Todd Upstate is a genius. He's out of that, Todd. To be able to play with two great drummers, my twin and Todd, is pretty amazing. I am the envy of every bass player. So, I recently, I think it was 4 years ago, we played at the Palladium again, and I know someone's there again, and I said, well, 4 years later, that was such an amazing experience. We had so many people who remember us. For being there. We hadn't been there for 8 years. That's pretty amazing. So that's my story.
All right, I'm told we have to wrap this up. So one last question. This one is from Dan Madsen. Where's Dan? Dan out there? There's Dan. Dan, is that you with the Tommy fucking Shaw shirt on? Oh, that's not. Okay. Is that official merch, or is that a bootleg, or you get that at Hot Topic? Where do you go for that? Wherever Dan is, he said, what's the most important thing you've done as bandmates to stay together at such a high level all these years? Anyone want to take that?
I think, as Todd pointed out earlier, that new music is the lifeblood for all of us, but for as bandmates, it gives us a new lease on doing what we do, because it's important. It's important to make new music. At least for me, I think that's one thing that keeps the lease up on any band, and so we really get behind it, and that's one of the things for sure. Lawrence, do you have something else besides blackmail to add to this? Extortion.
On that note, I would just like to say something before we wrap up. First of all, thank you guys for having me a part of this. It's been amazing. And I also want to say this. Thank you. I said this coming out of the Vegas show last year as well. And this is just me talking, and I don't know if these guys care about this or not, but it is absolutely fucking criminal that these guys are not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I am a voter. I don't nominate, but I'm a voter. But I know the nominators, and I am pounding on them to make this right. So let's hope they come to their senses and do the right thing on something that should have happened 30 years ago and get this band in. I don't know if you guys care about that, and it certainly doesn't validate the career you've had, but as fans that we are, I think it is criminal. So, I'll leave it at that. They're not touching it. Tommy doesn't care. That's a good attitude. Seriously, he doesn't care. J1, do you care? You've got the mic up to your mouth.
I care, but I know too much. I have to keep my mouth shut.
It'll happen. Trust me. We'll get it there. We'll get it there. But it doesn't matter, because we know this band rules. We know this is a great weekend. You guys enjoy the rest of it. Stick around. Todd's coming out. Gavin, Collective Soul, Loverboy. It's going to be great. We'll see you out there. Thank you, everybody.